So listen, new kind of thing for this last part of segment number one. Aaron Donald just recently retired. Stud, one of my favorite defensive players I've ever watched. I had a friend shoot me a text message. Said, I'd really like to see you guys go and talk about Aaron Donald, ranking him not only against J.J. Watt, okay, but his rank as a defensive player all time, and then compare him up with someone like Reggie White, okay? Now, I'm an old school guy when it comes to football. I'm a big Warren Sapp head, all right? Warren Sapp was one of my favorite defensive players. Unfortunately, when I go through the numbers, Warren Sapp, his resume overall can't really stack up with JJ's, Reggie's, or Aaron Donald's when you go the individual accolades, plus the fact, maybe some of the youngins don't remember this, Warren Sapp played on one of the greatest defenses I ever watched. Those old school, the Tampa Bay Bucks teams. You want the old school Tampa 2. I mean, you had guys like Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Simeon Rice, Chidi Ahanatu. I mean, those defense, Rondé Barber, those defenses were some bad boys. The year they won the Super Bowl, actually, their defense, I think, had 3 or 4 turnovers in that game against the Oakland Raiders, Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
Who was the coach?
Gruden.
It was Gruden. Gruden was the coach back in the day. Gannon was the quarterback. But a defensive back won the Super Bowl MVP. So that defense was bad, man. They used to go at it with that greatest show on turf, Rams. But I digress. Warren Sapp, I didn't forget you, big boy, but unfortunately the accolades don't quite match up. So if I were to ask you, Aaron Donald versus J.J. Watt, who you got as the highest ranked defensive player, being that they were contemporaries and they played in a similar time period?
Easy decision for me, Aaron Donald.
Okay.
Right? Like, I don't even got to think about it. Aaron Donald, all right, for two reasons, right?
Both three-time Defensive Player of the Year award winners, too, as well.
All right, so here's the thing, right? So I think J.J. Watt, he started off hot, right? 17, 16,
Monster.
20 sacks.
Absolute monster.
But then, got, riddled by injuries, right? Didn't play as
Lost
many
almost
full
2 full seasons, dude.
right? Lost 2 full seasons versus Aaron Donald, like, really simple, clear-cut resume.
Sure.
10 years, 8 All-Pros.
8 first-team All-Pros.
Right, first-team All-Pros, as well as 10 Pro Bowl seasons, right?
Yep.
Super Bowl ring. No Super Bowl ring for J.J.
And
Watt.
2 Super Bowl appearances for Aaron Donald, too, as well.
Right, and
The
yes,
ring
2
and 2 appearances.
2 appearances, so...
Where they only gave up 13 points in that game and a loss.
Right, and think about this, right? Aaron Donald played in the middle, right? So he was facing double and triple teams.
Sure.
Versus J.J. Watt was on the exterior,
Yeah.
right?
He'd play in the middle sometimes, but not to the
enough,
bulker level
not
of
enough.
the Donald.
So I'll be honest with you, I don't even think J.J. is in his world.
Wow. So listen, here's what I'll say. JJ was a bad dude. They both won 3 Defensive Players of the Year. You pointed out the Super Bowl difference. The one thing JJ does have going for him is finished second in league MVP voting. Now, I forgot to preface this too.
So
this conversation,
because he was a bridesmaid, he
no,
should get a lot of credit.
No.
What are
I'm
we
just
talking
saying
about
that
here?
if a defensive player finishes that high in the voting, obviously he was very impactful. I'm with you. Aaron Donald's better. I forgot to preface this whole conversation with this, people. And Cowboys, Eagles, and NFC East people are probably not going to want to hear this, but it's just the facts. We're going into this conversation with a clear-cut understanding that the greatest defensive football player is one LT. That's Lawrence Taylor. Why? I know you guys are probably going to want to bring up some numbers. Well, he didn't do this and he didn't do that. Hogwash. It's very simple. Only defensive player in league history to win the league MVP. 2-time Super Bowl champion. All right? On top of that, he is responsible for 2 very impactful things that still hit the league today. The pass rusher is the number 1 paid position on the defense because of what he could do. And the left tackle, the quarterback's blind side, is the highest paid offensive line position on that league because that guy made it a point. You better protect the quarterback's blind side because otherwise he's going to come in and shred you up like he did Theismann back in the day. No disrespect to Theismann too. But as long as we have that understanding, basically right now we're arguing for who's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, more or less.
I mean, wait, just time.
Go ahead.
You said 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have to bring up Deion Sanders.
Oh, he's in this conversation.
Like you just, if you're gonna bring up LT, my guy, I gotta Deion Sanders. You gotta put respect on his name.
Deion's in the top 5.
So if you're gonna bring up LT, make sure
Deion's in the top 5.
Top 5?
He's in
you
the
mean
top 5.
2? What kind of conversation are we having here?
Wow.
Right, like
wow.
it is very simple.
So hold
we
on
got
a
LT
second here.
and we got Deion Sanders, and that's just facts.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Just
well, There is a gentleman here.
There's a sun and there's a moon. There's
First of all,
freaking LT and there's Dion.
R.I.P. to Mr. One Reggie White, who you seem to have either not watched or totally forgot about, but that was a bad man. Let's go through the resumes here. Let's compare him and Donald first, all right? So you brought up the 8 first-team All-Pros out of 10 seasons. I flipped the page. Reggie White played a grand total of 15 seasons. In those 15 seasons, he made 8 first-team All-Pros, okay? So Aaron Donald, better percentages, but in those 15 seasons, he has 13 total All-Pros, all right? Let's take a little bit of a further look. Now, Aaron Donald has 1 more Defensive Player of the Year on him. Reggie White has 5 top 5 finishes for Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald has 4 top 5 finishes for Defensive Player of the Year. Reggie White also has a Super Bowl championship and went to 2. Him and Donald are equal there. 198 career sacks to 111 career sacks for Aaron Donald. Now, spent more of his time, obviously, on the edge, but was a big man too as well. And when he was in Philly, he actually did play on the interior. 1,111 combined tackles for his career. Aaron Donald's 543. They didn't track quarterback hits while Reggie White was playing. They didn't actually start tracking that statistic until 2006. They also did not keep tackles for loss until 1999. So unfortunately, it's hard to do a stat-by-stat comparison or face by them. But if we do sacks per season, Aaron Donald, 11.1. Reggie White, 13.2. Tackles per season. Aaron Donald, 54. Reggie White, 74. Like I said, no quarterback hits, no tackles for loss. How about forced fumbles, right? That's a pretty good statistic, right, for a guy who's playing on the defense. Aaron Donald, 24, good for 2.4 forced fumbles a season. Reggie White, 33, good for 2.2. So if I'm breaking this down when I break those stats down to you, and again, this is just this is the first time we've done anything like this, right?
Sure.
Where we kind of break down, go like a criteria by criteria basis. Who do you like more there, Reggie White or Aaron Donald?
So this is why you're such a LeBron James fan. All right? You just love statistics.
I do
right?
love statistics.
You love accumulators, right?
You got to do it.
Listen, at the end of the day, there's one simple metrics that determines whether you're one of the greatest of all time.
Okay.
Not like you're great, not like you're a Hall of Famer.
Gotcha.
You're the greatest,
Gotcha.
right? Or in that 1,
Gotcha.
2 category, right? What does LT and Dion have in common? Now, I'll say this, right, that Aaron Donald absolutely has it.
He does.
And Reggie White
White's
has
got it
some
too.
of it, right? Some of it, right? And I'm talking about fear. I'm talking about intimidation. Football is a sport of nothing but grown men.
I love this
right?
because the old heads are going to come out on this conversation
Listen,
and go, no, Reggie White, boy.
But I am telling you that LT instilled fear in his opponent.
He's
right.
He's number one.
100%.
His position's not up for
100.
debate.
But no, I'm going somewhere with
debating
it.
2, 3, 4.
No. I'm
Okay.
going somewhere with
Fair.
it. Right. Right. Fear. Right. Intimidation.
That's
change
fair.
the record books.
That's
Change
fair.
everything. Right.
That's
2
fair.
Super Bowls. Dion shut down half the field. Literally, he had to go play receiver just so he can touch the rock because half of the field wasn't going to throw it to him. Yeah. Just half of the field.
Only 1 Defensive Player of the Year award. Only 1.
2 Super Bowls. But again, this is where
Some of the greatest teams of all time.
This
though.
is where
And that hurts for me to
because
say.
he
It's the
was
Dallas
on
Cowboys.
it. Because he was on it.
And
right?
not just him.
First of all,
Ed
fine.
Tuttle Jones, Leon Lett, Michael
He's still the
Irvin,
best player.
Emmett Smith, Larry
He's still the
Allen,
best player.
Troy Aikman.
He's still the best player.
Some bad dudes
He's still the
on
best
those
player.
Cowboys fans.
Everybody you name, he's greater than. Everyone. There's only one person you can name that deserves recognition, Jarrett Rice.
Okay.
Right? That's it. Everybody else, Dion is significantly better than, right?
So you got Dion as number 2.
100%.
Dion's number 2 all time.
100%. And listen, it's Dion and it's LT, and depending on the day, I go back and forth. But at the end of the day, what do they have in common? That fear, that intimidation. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Reggie White was awesome, right?
Bad dude.
Like, bad
man.
dude.
He was a bad dude.
Bad SOB.
They said he was the best after LT. Reggie White was the next best pass rusher.
Now, when you look at Aaron Donald, right? They were doubling.
I'm a big Donald fan for the
and
record.
triple teaming him, right? He got his buddies contracts because he's facing a triple team while 2 other guys are responsible for 3 people, right? From day one, he was a all-pro and a Pro Bowler.
Sure.
Right? Now, again, he's ending his career early. Some of us are still holding out hope that he's going to come back and get that $24 million that he has on the table.
Come back mid-season.
But I'm just saying.
I can't believe he's done.
And he did it from the defensive tackle position, right? LT, Reggie, they did it from the outside,
Yep.
right? Aaron did it from the inside. And if you left him one-on-one, it was a win.
He was unblockable.
2-on-2 was, 2-on-1 wasn't fair.
Same thing I said about White, but
literally
sure.
needed 3 men to slow him down. So quarterbacks are rejoicing. Quarterbacks are sleeping so well at night. Their wives are so thankful because they will not be sacked by Aaron Donald anymore.
Wives.
Right?
This guy and his
That
wives and
that is who we're
relationship
talking
analogies.
about.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the metric. I could care less about all those statistics that you got.
one
Aaron
LT
Donald was affecting quarterbacks' wives.
Wow.
Right? That's how good that man was.
So one, if I'm not understanding you correctly, it'd be 1 LT, 2 Dion, 3 Donald, 4 Reggie White.
It's looking that way.
Okay. I would probably say 1 LT, 2 Aaron Donald, 3 Deion Sanders, and 4
This MFer
Reggie
is
White.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
Dion,
For the record,
Dion, he doesn't get it.
No disrespect
right?
towards you.
Did you even watch him?
I did.
And you still have the balls to say he's number 2?
I did. Because I think that the defensive linemen just impact the game at a higher level. That's the only reason why I would put him above him. Even though I would still sit there and say that Dion is the greatest cornerback of all time.